Welcome to Toffee Blue View, your source for all things Everton. All right. I'm Gerry. Max is with me. I assure you he's here. Max, can you hear me? Yes, he is here. Okay, good. We've been having some sound stuff today, so I have to double check. We need to talk about who Marco might start in Everton's weekend FA Cup matchup with Lincoln City. The Imps, ladies and gentlemen. That's just great. They have a crazy little badge. You know, yeah, it's cool. So, Max, who are you going to start? Because formation-wise, personnel-wise, no idea.
Yeah.
No idea right now.
The formation discussion is an interesting one to have. When it came down to actually writing me 11, I suppose I've played it safe in that I've chose the 5 back because I feel like, you know, as I mentioned earlier, I don't think we're good enough playing this, you know, this 5/3 at the back yet, and you know, you'd only get better by practicing. So seems like a more suitable game than any other to roll with it. I've gone with Jordan Pickford in goal, John Joe Kenny at right back, Yerry Mina, Phil Jagielka, and Kurt Zouma as centre back, Leighton Baines at left back. In centre midfield, Tom Davies and James McCarthy. Up front, left wing, Ademola Lookman, if he's about. Centre forward, Cenk Tosin, and on the right, Theo Walcott.
Right on. So you've got James McCarthy in there.
Yeah, I have. If he's fit and if he's making the matchday squad, that is. Idrissa Gueye, probably, I wouldn't be surprised to see him play because obviously with that injury layoff that he had, he's probably still fresh enough and not as leggy as the others. I definitely see Andre Gomez sitting this one out because, you know, he's been subbed off the last few times. And, you know, as I said, he's looked a bit exhausted. But, yeah, I think in terms of that, in terms of that centre midfield partnership, obviously James McCarthy is going to be the one that's doing the brushing up defensively. Obviously, yeah, Davies would be the one more on the front foot, looking to thread the passes through. But I don't think he'd be getting too ahead of himself. I don't think he'd get carried away and get caught out of position. I do think he'd be well guarded and know, you know, to be alert on the back foot. So what we were talking about off camera, Gerry, you know, there's not a lot of options to really rotate the squad with, to be honest. So yeah, I've rolled with a few of the usual 11. I've got to give you full credit for the Phil Jagielka shout. It didn't even cross my mind until you mentioned it off camera. But yeah, I do think this is the fixture where it looks like he's coming in. Likewise for Leighton Baines.
Yeah, I've got both those guys in my lineup. I'll rattle mine off. I'm thinking. I don't really think Marco Silva normally does this, so there's a pretty strong chance this is off. But 4-4-2. I don't know why. I think it's just the idea of being able to get these 2 strikers on that I'm thinking of. Stecklenburg starting in goal. I would love to see João Virginia get a start. I think he's just such a strong young keeper, and I think he could do well. I just think Steck is going to be starting. You know, John Joe Kenny, rest Coleman more. You know, I think there's no reason to start Seamus Coleman in this one unless John Joe Kenny's hurt. And honestly, I don't think he is, and even if he was, I would bring a right back up from the U23s. I would give Coleman some air. You know, Yerry Mina and Jagielka starting in the center, Leighton Baines on the left. So this gets hairy right here. I've got 4 possible players that could be playing in the center midfield in some combination. I've got Morgan Schneiderlin and Davies, though, as the players I think will start. But is Schneiderlin on his way?
Very possible.
I don't know. Is McCarthy on his way? I don't know. All right. I don't know whether when Marco Silva this past week was saying nice things about Morgan Schneiderlin. I don't know if he was saying that to kind of hint that he's going to stay at the club, or if he's like, I'm pretending like he's valuable to drive the price up, that kind of thing. I don't know. But I got Schneiderlin Davies as my center mid combination. Richarlison and Bernard on the sides, DCL and Tosin up front.
I certainly like that pairing up front because both of them need goals. I don't think this is the game for Richarlison, no.
I know. I totally. That was like it's either him or Walcott. I wrote Walcott down first. Which one needs rest more? I think Walcott's older, but Richarlison is more valuable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree, but I feel like this is the game where Walcott could play his way out of this rut.
Good point. Yeah.
He's getting on. I've got to be honest. It's getting on my nerves how all of them are playing. To be honest, even against Leicester, I felt Richarlison spent too much time on the floor rather than on his feet.
And he was just like everybody else, misplaying passes. And I mean, I saw him sitting there trying to lead players into space, and he just passed to the other team. He was my biggest frustration actually, were his misplaced pass, and that was out of a lot of frustrations. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt, man.
No, it's there's no squad depth there, is there? And like we were saying, we can't see an under 23s call up happening, particularly considering that we've loaned the young players that we may have thought would get a game. They all seem to have gone now. Kieran Dowell's gone, Mason Allgate's gone. You were saying Tyce Brownham's gone. Like some of the lads who were regulars in the matchday squads are just going to have to play this one through.
Yeah, we have some quality U23 players, but we also have some players who just haven't been able to play much that are still on the senior squad. Tosin's not getting much time. Now's a good game to play him. Schneiderlin is technically on our squad. He doesn't get to play much. I will say my heart absolutely sank when he had to come in last week to play. That in a game where we were already looking poor, and I'm like, oh, here's Schneiderlin to the rescue. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was that part, that centre midfield partnership that set me off, because it was, as I said, it just reeked of Sam Allardyce last season. It's on
fair. Super fair.
No real pace, no real energy, and yeah, it was frustrating. Personally, I can't see Morgan Schneiderlin starting this one. I wouldn't be surprised if he's on the bench though.
I would go ahead and say I prefer McCarthy start. I prefer your choice. I just think Silva has a little bit of Schneiderlin love. You remember when you used to? You remember your Schneiderlin love phase?
Yeah.
Hey, I had one as well. Mine just ended when I saw him walking after loose balls in the box.
Yeah.
And I was just under the impression he's gone this January. That's why my gut was like, why even put him in your lineup if he's probably on his way? It was that Silva coming out and saying, hey, I have more confidence in his abilities than even he has right now, which I found interesting. It seems like maybe Schneiderlin may be a little low on confidence right now, which, I would be too if I was him. He's not getting in a matchday squad often. So we'll see. And yeah, we were talking about the idea of Bernard playing and starting this. This is like the last game we should start Bernard.
Yeah, I think it'd either way one or two ways. Either between toes, or he'd just get lashed all over the place.
I'm really worried he's going to just get hammered. You know those little skillful players that just they're on the ground a lot because they're quicker than the opposition. I can see that happening often. Him kind of going around a player, and then the player has already started a slide from like 5 yards away, just continuing, just going right through his legs. This is one of those. It's a physical game. You can look at it in that he's a good counterpoint to their physicality, and maybe he'll be quick enough to avoid, or the opposite.
Yeah.
So
that may depend when you put him on the pitch as well.
What was that?
That may depend on where you put him on the pitch as well, because that may be something that he experiments with for this game.
That's something that's actually the first thing I wrote down was Bernard playing center attacking mid. You know, that the idea of him being able to create through the middle. It's just been when I watch him play though, he looks so much more comfortable on the side. But an experiment would not be completely, you know, not the worst idea. So because I don't know who else you put at that Siggy position, the Sigurdsson position. I don't know who else you put there besides Tom Davies.
Yeah, and when we played the 5-back, it seems like we just abandon it altogether.
We do. So, yeah, this is a weird one. Secretly, in my heart of hearts, I would like to see Beningame get some minutes because I have my man crush there. Because I want, I don't know, like I said, I've seen him play a lot and I want him to get a chance. I just don't get the vibe that Silva has as much faith in him as previous managers have. You know what I mean? So, and I think he didn't get started off to the best start because he was injured at the beginning of the season. And that's just not the way to get the coach's attention. So yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I just want to lay that out there. I'm just saying it could be possible because he is on the squad. You know, I think this calls out for some sort of veteran presence in the middle, though. This one, I think McCarthy is the player I would start, but we're not Marco, so hard to say. Anything else on this one, man? Such a weird
FA Cup Everton. Don't mess this one up this year, please.
Yeah. I'm a little concerned he's going to be benching and resting more players than we want. But to be honest with you, if anybody had questions about squad depth before this segment, try to put together a lineup where you actually rest some players. Okay? Especially in the midfield. It's really hard. It is really hard. And we just don't. I chalk up our poor form right now to lack of squad depth. I just do.
We haven't even mentioned Dumanias.
No. Not mention him.
Very possible he may play.
The fact that he played the other day, what?
I know.
Yeah. I mean, I think we both know he's on his way in January. He's one of those that's a definite, he's out. Like, he's going somewhere. Permanent, loan, whatever, he's on his way. I mean, plus, I just don't think starting a player that you know is definitely on their way is a good way to get team chemistry up.
I agree.
So, anyway, anything else on this? Have we exhausted all options? We'll see. It's a weird one. It's a really weird game. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to watch it here in America. FA Cup games are normally on the Fox networks, so I don't even know.
Yeah, the early rounds are always tricky. I think to try.
Well, honestly, it's just tough. League Cup games are not even available in America. The League Cup games, even like the big ones, you know, you have to like pay for a subscription service. Not cool. So anyway, all right. Well, we'll see what happens this weekend. Hopefully, I get to watch it. But I guess that's it for our starting 11 FA Cup segment, and that's our final video segment. If you want to switch over to the pod, me and Max are going to be talking about movies. So if that's something you want to not think about Everton for a little while, we can help you. So we're going to talk about movies. So switch over to the podcast now, if you so desire. If not, hey, no hard feelings. Right? If you are digging the videos, though, please subscribe to the Toffee Blues YouTube channel. We sincerely appreciate it. Also, give Max more of your brain. Check out his Twitter. He'll tell you where he's going to be. He'll definitely be on the Toffee Blues website, though. He does a lot of analysis on there. He just can't help it. It happens. So that's it for this for the videos on this little run. I guess switch over to the pod now if you want. Let's get a win. Let's advance in the cup then. All right? We need this. Come on, you Blues. Let's do it. Bye.